Hi, I'm the director of Little Women, Gillian Armstrong. You can see with the costumes the incredible detail that Colleen Atwood has added, and she went on to receive an Academy nomination, so I'm pleased the other costume designers out there recognised her great talent.
One of the most fun yet trickiest costumes for the movie was the ice skating costume because they were really skating on artificial ice with a lot of fake snow, and the snow was cornstarch, and they used water, so it was sort of like glue on costumes. I had a lot of research for ice skating costumes of the period, and I wanted to combine something that was, authentic for the period, but looked like it was kind of a makeshift thing for all of them, because they really weren't the sort of people that went out to Central Park ice skating when it was winter in their new ice skating gear. So I adapted something that looked like it might have been a dress that Winona had almost outgrown, and shortened it a little bit and made it look sort of sporty in that way. Some of the clothes in Little Women are made from antique fabrics, which were found all over the world. A lot of my fabrics for Little Women came from America because I wanted to depict the sort of simplicity of America at the time. Some of my fabrics came from England. My fancier fabrics were from England and France for the movie. I had a lot of wonderful people that did embroidery and needlework on the costumes once they were being put together, where perhaps I used an authentic fabric and then did some detail and needlework to reflect the period without it getting too ornate. I did use pinafores and covers, what we call aprons today, a lot in the movie, because I felt that it helped show the idea that people wore the same dress on a daily basis, but sometimes wore a different sort of cover over it. They tended to wear cotton chemises underneath to help keep them clean on the inside, and pinafores and aprons a lot on the outside to keep them clean on the outside when they were doing practical things around the house. In the beginning of the story, there's a party where Jo first meets Laurie. Laurie's costume was made for me in England. In that scene, they kind of become soulmates, but also in that scene, we really see the community at their finest. As Laurie becomes interested in Jo, and he actually proposes marriage to her, and in that scene, she's wearing a handmade gauze dress with a bow in the back. But this dress was suddenly a dress that Jo's becoming a woman in. At the same time, she has a lot of conflict, because even though she loves Laurie, she knows they're not meant to be together, and it would destroy a great friendship for them to be married as he proposes. So it's a dress that we wanted to be sort of soft and a different version of Jo than the sort of tomboy clothes that you see earlier in the story. When we went to New York in the story, I felt like I had to shift the direction from the countryside to the city. I did that by adding, of course, a level of wealth that wasn't really happening in the rural area, and also a level of poverty that wasn't particularly seen in the rural area. It was after the war, there were a lot of people who were struggling in the cities as well as in the countryside, and there was also a huge influx of immigrants. So I did research for people from different parts of Europe who were coming to America. There were Germans and Irish, and I tried to reflect their clothing in the people that lived at Kirk House and on the streets in New York. In Little Women, Jo attends the opera with Professor Bhaer one evening, and it's really her turning point as far as suddenly caring about what she wears, as far as wanting somebody to appreciate her. She does it very simply, actually, in a nice burgundy woolen dress, very basic, but at the same time something a little bit more colorful and new for Jo. It's quite a big step for her. When you do research for a movie like Little Women, the first source of inspiration is the story itself, and then you begin looking at each character within the story. And then oftentimes you go from the written word to the visual research of the period. We were greatly influenced by the artist Tissot for some of our finer scenes, and for Christian Bale's sort of grown-up Laurie, when Amy meets him in Europe, was specifically from an Italian painting I found in a book of a dapper young man of the period. There's also existed in the period of Little Women early photography, which has a huge influence on the movie in hair and makeup, as well as in costume, because it gives us an opportunity to look at people and helps us as costume designers try to make the clothes not costumes but clothing on people.